So, as a preface to this video, I'm going to read the first chapter of the book of Job, and we will base this discussion on this chapter. Okay? So, Job chapter 1. I love this book. So, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. There were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters, father of 10. Busy house, busy table. He possessed 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, and very many servants, so that this man was the greatest of all the people of the East. His sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each one on his day, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Now, on his day, okay, just so you know, yesterday was my birthday, and yeah, that is a cockfight going on in the background in that video. I live in the Philippines. That's just normal, and this house came with that. Just get over it. Anyway, so his day. Yesterday was my birthday. I've just had birthday cake and beer, and I'm very much on the case of this is my day. Cool. So, on their day, which I think is probably their birthday, and there were 7 in the year, they would invite their whole brothers and sisters over, their sisters especially, and they would have a big, lovely celebration, big party. His sons used to go and hold a feast in the house on each one of his day, on his day, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And when the days of the feast had run their course, Job would send and consecrate them, and he would rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them, so 10 burnt offerings. For Job said, "It may be that my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus Job did continually. This is a man who loved the Lord, and the Lord loved him, as we're about to find out. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan also came among them, and the Lord said to Satan, "From where have you come?" Now, let's just be obvious here. God knew exactly where Satan came from, but he's making a point. Satan came from God. God created Satan because Satan was originally Lucifer, who was the angel of light, and not only that, he was the one who used to hold the light up, who is the light of heaven, Jesus. And so therefore Satan actually held basically a 4th place in the Trinity, a really important position. He used to hold the Son in front of the Father. Nobody, and I mean nobody, in the whole of history has ever got closer to God than Lucifer. And that's what makes his betrayal so painful. Painful for God and painful for us as his image bearers. Okay, so from where have you come? And Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." And the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? This is potentially the biggest setup in the whole of human history." We will carry on. "That there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man." Satan hates that. who fears God and turns away from evil. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not put a hedge around him and his house, and all that he has on every side? You've blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, he will curse you to your face. And the Lord said to Satan, Behold, all that he has is in your hands. Only against him do not stretch out your hand. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. I'll just carry on. Yeah, I know you want me to carry on. So, now, there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And there came a messenger to Job and said, The oxen were ploughing, and the donkeys feeding beside them. And the Sabians fell upon them and took them and struck down your servants with the edge of the sword. And I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, The fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came another. Here we go. The Chaldeans formed their 3 groups and made a raid on the camels and took them and struck them down, the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. Okay, that's not the one. I think this one's the one. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, Your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. This one's the one. And behold, a great wind came across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people. And they are dead, and I alone have escaped to tell you. Okay, a couple of points here. Number 1, this man's entire family, business, and lifestyle has just been irrevocably changed. And here he has 4 servants who have faithfully come to report this to him. Imagine being in the position of one of their servants, where they alone survived to be able to tell Job about what had gone on. Then Job arose and tore his robe, and shaving his head, fell on the ground and worshipped. Every single person who's ever suffered should totally get this. And he said, Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. So, I am going to work in my own personal view of how God responds to the weird contradiction of transgender and theology. Is there a theology for transgenderism in the book of Job? I think there is. So it's time to go for a walk and have a good long chat and a discussion about this chapter and how it actually answers a ton of questions regarding transgender ideology and meets them together with theology. And I'm seeing this big gap in my teeth just here. It's sticking out terribly, and all I can say is I'm now living in the Philippines and I plan to get that fixed. Yeah. Okay, so let's go and have a chat. So let's continue our chat. Okay, outside here it is 38 degrees centigrade. Hey, hello. It's got a feel like of 41 degrees. I love this heat. This is summer in the Philippines. It's April the 19th. My birthday was yesterday. And I just love the Philippines. Anyway, so let's carry on with our little conversation that we had. Hello, little puppy. Well, not really a puppy, just an angry Shih Tzu. But anyway, so let's carry on with our conversation. Good, nothing behind me. So, how do we bring together this idea of transgender ideology and merge it with the application of theology? It's a difficult one, isn't it? Well, okay, back in 1995, I had a beautiful little sister, and she was born, and she was absolutely beautiful. She was born with a haired lip. That's not the same as a cleft palate. So a cleft palate is a hole in the lip here and a hole in the palate. She just had the hole in the lip, just that little cleft just here. And so we were like, well, okay, you know, that's cool. Let's see what happens. So the doctors, they took her and they did a bunch of extra tests, and they discovered that she had a 1 in a billion heart defect that we still don't know where it comes from. And it's called hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. I've had a couple of really basic explanations of what that means. Honestly, I still don't understand it. I probably never will. But it forces me to ask the question, does God create imperfect people with imperfect illnesses? So I became a Christian in 2009, it's now 2025. So for the last 16 years, I've basically been meditating on this, asking this idea. If you're living in the Philippines and you're in San Monique, there are some beds for sale. Come and get them. Hello, mate. There's no need to get angry. I'm friendly enough. Anyway, so I have to ask myself the question, does God make people to be imperfect? What we just read in the book of Job is a really solid answer to that question. The answer is no. God never made any of us imperfect. So the question then is, well, why is it that my little sister died at the age of 6 months with basically a broken heart? And the answer is Satan or a demon of some description asked the Lord for permission to attack. Okay? And the Lord, in his wisdom and in his glory, said, yes, you may. Okay? I have to say that hurts me to even think that. But this is one of the places where somebody who agrees with John Calvin can say, okay, look, herein lies all of the sovereignty of God. God, his wisdom is above all things. We're able, therefore, to accept what happens to us based entirely upon what the Lord has agreed, you know? So, I have to accept that my little sister, who was beautiful and adorable and had the most precious smile, was allowed by God to be attacked by Satan. He made changes to her genetic code in the womb so that she was born imperfect. And, well, I mean, she was always perfect, but she was permitted to be imperfect. There's a lot of grumpy dogs out today. It's probably the temperature. But wow, look at this. I did not know this was here. Look at that. That's kind of like a cross between utterly beautiful and hideous. But hey, there you go. Human impact on the earth. So, then we come to the whole point of, well, where does this whole transgender ideology come from? It's a good question. It's actually a very good question. It's a rock solid question. Is there a theology to respond to transgender ideology? I think there is. Now, I'm not going to respond to, I don't know, Olympians who are not getting enough attention, craving more attention and saying, do you know what, I'm going to change my sex. I'm not going to respond to that. What I am going to respond to is people that genuinely appear to be suffering from an illness known as gender dysphoria. Now, gender dysphoria is this idea that a human being could be born a woman with the psychology of a man, okay, or be born a male with the psychology of a female. Is there room in the book of Job, from what we've just read, just one chapter of that 28 chapter book, is there room for gender dysphoria being an attack by Satan upon that which is 100% perfect, created beautifully by God to fulfill a role here on his glorious planet Earth? Look at this. This is just one, look at that, look. This is just one beautiful patch of the Lord's planet Earth called the Philippines. I'm so glad I'm here. But anyway, I'm going that way. So, can we actually put in here a theology of transgender ideology. I think that we can. I don't believe that God has ever created anybody or anything to be imperfect. My little sister was imperfect when she was born. That's why she died at 6 months old from a heart defect that should never have happened, but did. And we have to apply a response to that theologically, that is a part of God's theology. And I believe that the book of Job actually gives us the whole answer to that question. That is, Satan has the permission, and demons have the permission to be able to approach the Lord in heaven and to say, look, this person, you've totally protected them from every possible thing that could have gone wrong, okay? Or nothing's gone wrong for this person for the last 20 or 30 years. Everything's been beautiful. I mean, take the case of my dad, my stepmom. They got married. They had, let's see, 2 beautiful children together, not including myself and my sister. And so 4 phenomenal kids, and life was pretty beautiful. My dad had just got himself his degree in teaching. Everything was going really, really well. We were about to move. Things were perfect. And then Satan attacked and basically ruined a family. How do I approach that from a theological perspective? I can say that the Lord was challenged by the enemy, and the Lord responded and said, do as you will, protect these lives, and I will prove you. It's been a painful few years responding to that, but here we are responding to it. So how do we build into this idea of gender dysphoria? Is gender dysphoria a real illness? Personally, I think it is. I think the whole gender dysphoria idea is what happens when Satan approaches the throne and says, hey, this kid, let me at him, let me at her, let me be able to, muddy the water here, let me remove some of your perfection and show you just how broken your universe can actually be. Look at that, incredible, just, see, that's the Lord's, that is absolutely the Lord's creation right there. It's stunning. It's also humanity getting involved as well, which is where the broken stuff is. But hey, so Satan says, hey, let me at this person. So what I personally believe, and I am not, this is basically my 95 theses. I am nailing this on the door, and I request that theologians contact me and we can have this debate. We'll put it on YouTube, we'll make it huge, but this is my 95 theses. So Where I'm Martin Luther, this is me asking the question of theologians to answer this. Unfortunately for Martin Luther, the Roman Catholic Church was so paranoid at the time when he nailed up the 95 Theses that he didn't really get his debate per se. He rather got persecuted. But this is my 95 Theses, and I'm hoping that you guys don't persecute me for it. I personally do believe in gender dysphoria. I think that the Lord created somebody to be a YY. Satan came in after the fact and added an X. Or the Lord created somebody to be an XY, and Satan came in and made that person a YY or an XX, or I don't know, whichever one it is irrelevant really to the point. The fact is, we have people who are claiming to have this horrendous mental illness called gender dysphoria, and my argument is that actually it might not be a mental illness. It may actually be a physical one. And what we actually see is the real life outpouring of the book of Job theologically being played out for the whole world to see. And it is Satan's way of attacking society in just such a way that he can tear apart the family, break up family values. I'm wondering if perhaps a little bit of this is not what causes people to choose homosexual or lesbian lifestyle. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, is there a biological element that is created or abused by Satan in order to break up family, break up society, and to render broken that which the Lord created whole? That is my thesis, that is my belief, my idea, Okay, look, in the end of the day, the Lord said, blessed are those who are the peacemakers. Okay, we are basically at war with homosexuality and with transgender ideology. And the fact is, there's a theological answer for both in the book of Job. That rather than segregating and separating us, has the potential for uniting us, because basically we've got a theological answer to the questions that are being raised from the physical perspective. So yeah, basically this is my 95 Theses nailed on the door. If you're a theologian, a doctor of theology, a respected pastor, you know, I'm talking like, I don't know, the Johns. So, you know, John Piper. There's another John who I see. Oh man, I keep looking at all of his lessons. He's done a whole lot on the book of Revelation. I love him to bits. It took me a long time to learn that his name was John. John, and Bonnie is his wife. If that's you, get in touch. I would love to debate this with you. We can arrange it over Zoom or something like that. And do you know what? We can actually have this debate, because I'm somebody who I adore Jesus with all my heart, all my soul, and with all my body. I get it wrong just like everybody else, but I adore the Lord Jesus Christ with all my heart, body, and soul. But I also believe that there may actually be a theological answer to these questions that keep coming up against us over and over again. And they are like the sore tooth that needs pulling out. I'm hoping that what I'm suggesting here presents a filling, so we actually get to keep the tooth. I'm gonna posit a suggestion then that having that operation, in the case of real gender dysphoria, is actually the outpouring of God's love and is normality being restored. That woman is made whole again. That man is made whole again by that operation. Unfortunately, what we also have is people who are being assaulted and attacked by Satan in all of the most horrendous ways, where they actually turn around and they say, hey, guess what? I have gender dysphoria. And then they go ahead and kill themselves because they don't have gender dysphoria. What they're doing is struggling. Hello. So yeah, this is my 95 theses. The Philippines is my Wittenberg church door. That's me hammering in the nail and nailing my 95 theses, or rather my potentially 2 theses, to the door and requesting debate. But let it be a public debate. Let it be something that we can discuss together, approaching the entire world on like Zoom or something like that, and we share it on YouTube, we share it on Rumble, wherever it is, and we discuss this openly, honestly, frankly, but with blessed are the peacemakers being central part of our okay. This tree here is called moringa. That basically is like God's holy cup of tea. Tastes disgusting but does amazing things to your body. And yeah, so here we are. But anyway, yeah, so this is my invitation to theologians to debate with me. If you are somebody who suffers with true gender dysphoria, I mean real, you're not just attention seeking, you are genuinely in full belief that you're in the body of a man, the body of a woman, and that everything about you is just a mistake, contact. Send me a little message. I'll read it. Let's set something up. Theologian, myself, yourself. And let's see if we can debate this in a loving, mature, caring, responsive way that answers this question once and for all. Okay? I'm a Christian. No matter who you are, I love you. Because you're an image bearer of my King. In every meaning of that word. You are an image bearer of the Lord God Almighty. You are made in his image and in his likeness. The likeness part is something that we never dwell on, but I think we should. you know, we are like God. I'm wearing this crazy silly hat because, frankly, I don't want skin cancer. It's literally, it's at that, wow, look at this. Look, the colours, the brightness, the beauty. Look, this is the world that Jesus created. This is what Satan does to it. You see that? So you've got perfection versus broken. See how easily that happens? And my argument is that perfection got broken. And for some people, those with genuine gender dysphoria, that sex change operation isn't going to lead to suicide. It's going to lead to the Lord's will being totally fulfilled. So, sorry, the people who deliver water to my house just walked by and I gave them a nod. And they're playing this music. Hello, girl. Look, little doggy. But yeah, so gender dysphoria, true gender dysphoria, I believe, is actually Satan's attack on the chromosomes of human beings. And in that, there is the answer that could unify all of us. This is not about men going in women's locker rooms. This is about the Lord's beautiful and precious creation being abused and broken as a slight against the amazing creation of our God and King. So yep, there you go, my two theses hammered upon the door of this house in the Philippines, as opposed to the Wittenberg church doors. So yeah, that door there, that one, all right? Hammer, hammer, imagine it. My two theses hammered on the Filipino door in San Monique, Rizal. I'm asking for a debate. Love you in Jesus' precious name. Each one of you bears the image of Christ.